Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday. It's good to be with you. Thank you kindly for joining us in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. Today we have a fantastic program. It's going to be extra dynamic for you because we're figuring out the nuances of Skype here on the I Love CVille show. So we'll welcome Dave Norris to the program, and Dave is going to join us in T-minus 30 seconds or so. He is just a fabulous guy, former mayor of Charlottesville, just understands the city from a lot of different nuances. So I'm looking forward to welcome Dave to the program. We're also going to welcome Daniel Kaufman to the program. He is the owner of Public Fish and Oyster, and also, ladies and gentlemen, the co-owner at Pronto, a to-go pasta establishment on the UVA corner. So we're going to get his perspective as an entrepreneur, small business owner, as a restaurateur, with everything that is going down in our community. This show proudly powered by Interstate Pest and Service Companies. We're their proud advertising agency of record, a business that started in Charlottesville in 1969. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, 4 generations of family running the company, and also Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Dr. Wagner changing people's lives through chiropractic care, sports medicine, and physical therapy. Here's the cool aspect of the show as we've improved the model. We're going to welcome Dave Norris to the show in 10 seconds via Skype. You can leave your comments and perspective and questions for Dave in the comments section, and I will pass them along on air to him. If your comment is really good, or if you'd like to join us on air because you have a compelling thought, we can Skype you into the program and have your thoughts relayed live on the I Love CVille show. Judah, my friend, Judah Wickhauer is our director. Let's go to Dave Norris and say, Dave, hello. Thank you kindly for joining us on the show today, Dave. You are number 2. Number 1 was Jay Pun. And Jay Pun, of course, of the fabulous Chim and Thai Bistro and Bowl. So I'm going to get out of your way. We respect you tremendously in the community. Former mayor, a guy that bleeds Charlottesville here. Dave Norris, coronavirus, Charlottesville and Central Virginia, your State of the Union.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously tough times for a lot of people. It's really striking to me. Every day I hear about friends or acquaintances that are out of work, whose businesses are bringing back some really tough memories of when I was in office and we had the Great Recession back in 2008, 2009. Just Charlottesville powered through that. We're going to power through this. And but in the meantime, we've got to help out our neighbors who are struggling right now. And I'm not sure we're doing enough yet. I know there's some folks in local government, state government, and federal government that are, trying to do what they can, but and we've all got to rally together to support
So
our
here's
neighbors.
a question I have for you and help us learn. What can city council do? What can a Lloyd Snook, a Mayor Walker, or what can they do during a time like this? What kind of power do they have?
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively limited, unfortunately, just because they don't have and has. However, one of the most important things they can do are some of the very things they've been doing on your show, Jerry. I watched Michael Payne on the show a couple days ago. I saw some of the footage from Lloyd Snook's interview with you, and just getting out there and getting good information, reliable information to the community, demonstrating that our local leaders are paying attention, are trying to keep on top of this issue. It's obviously a moving target. We get breaking news every hour on the hour, it seems, about what's happening. Just a few minutes ago, we learned that the number of cases in Virginia has gone up dramatically overnight. So I think one of the most important things that our local leaders can do is just paying attention and doing their part to get out accurate information and steer people to resources that are available locally and to do what they can within their own limited resources and powers. And so the Housing Authority was kind of out front on this and said, even a couple weeks ago that they're going to suspend evictions for public housing residents, most evictions for public housing residents during this time. We're not going to make people homeless. Our whole community, our whole society is dealing with this extraordinary situation right now. And so and things like expanding access to homeless services, expanding access to food. Our food justice network and local food organizations are doing a great job of, and the city schools and PB&J and others are doing the community for people who may be out of work and may be struggling. So there are things they can do locally, but really what we need is much more robust. We need a much more robust approach from our federal. I'm not the first one to point this out, but when you compare the approach that our federal government has taken to the governments in like South Korea and other places where they really jumped on this, made testing widely available as quickly as possible, made resources available in terms of medical equipment. That makes a huge difference,
Norris,
and lives were
mayor of Charlottesville,
saved in that
Virginia.
process.
He is kind enough to join us here on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline. Skype, just a fantastic tool right now. Dave, I'm going to throw this out to you. As the events progressed, and you hit it very perfectly, things are changing in real time. I'm almost hesitant to go on social media, check the news, anything like that, because I'm like, what's going to happen now? This entire flip book of events, which one caught you off the guard the most, and which one kind of like, lack of a better phrase, almost took your breath away? I know when when President Ryan said to the students not to return to grounds, for me, that really took it orders of magnitude to a different level.
Yeah, I think that was certainly a big one. I think just seeing, uttered, and a lot of them are trying to hold on, but that's a huge quality of life change that's affecting a lot of people and affecting a lot of workers. And it's just eerie to be walking down the downtown mall now and see. This is a pretty lively time of year usually, and to see it sort of barren of life, and activity. And it's there's a lot of things that have just happened where it's a whole new reality, it's a whole new normal. And I certainly hope we can get through this quicker than some of the predictions, some of the experts are predicting. But we're a strong community. We are blessed. I remember when the Great Recession hit again in 2008, 2009, Charlottesville actually did fairly well compared to many communities. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we do have the university here as our main economic engine. But, as you know, Jerry, because you are probably more than anybody always championing our local small business community, but small businesses are, other than the university, really are the lifeblood of this community. And that's what I worry about the most, is how this is impacting small businesses and the people. So many workers now are really hurting, really struggling. And thankfully, we are getting some relief from expanded unemployment insurance and things like that. But, you look at this may sound very parochial, but you look at the wedding industry here, like one of the, I don't want to say major economic drivers in this area, but it's So it's and I'm in the industry, so I can speak from firsthand experience where, we've had, dozens and dozens and dozens of weddings that have been canceled or postponed this month and next month. And that's a huge economic hit. And it's a huge hit to those people who count on that activity to pay their bills, to pay their mortgage, to cover their food costs, et cetera. And a lot of those people that are in the industry are self-employed. And that's one of the areas where I really worry the most, is that the economic assistance that's now coming down from DC and from Richmond to a lesser extent is primarily targeted at small businesses who are employing, 10, 50, 100 people. But people who are self-employed aren't really in line for a lot of that assistance. And that's going to hurt a lot of people.
A lot of questions coming in. Ray Cadell, we'll get to your question here in T-minus 2 minutes. Colleen Tyler, Nikki Wooten-Chambliss, welcome to the show. Public Fish and Oyster, thank you for sharing the show onto your Facebook page. Daniel Kaufman's going to join us at 1 o'clock on the program to talk about the restaurateur and small business perspective. Dave Norris, you're a voice of reason through this. We're both positive people. I'm trying to be a positive guy. I want to get to maybe some some light at the end of the tunnel here at the back end of our interview. Before we do, how about this question from Ray Cadell for you? He was extremely taken aback by Liberty University welcoming the students already to grounds in Lynchburg. President Trump is talking about this being potentially the economy being open again by Easter. I am no expert. I'm a Monday morning quarterback. I follow social media and the news here. I just care about this community. I want this community to reopen and to get back to normal more than anyone. I'm a proponent, like you said, of the small business community because I'm a small business owner just like yourself. That being said, I am terrified of rushing to judgment or rushing to we are back to normal and causing this virus to exponentially get worse.
Yeah, I totally. It's I resignated our governor after that whole blackface controversy. But I have to say, Jerry, I'm honestly now relieved that we have a medical doctor as our governor, because he not only does he know the science but he trusts the scientists and he trusts the medical professionals and has in contrast to those who, and I won't name any names, but those who tend to not trust the science or the medical professionals and instead go on their own hunches, and in a way that the decision by Liberty certainly seems rash and unadvised. I'm like you. I'm a Monday morning quarterback. I don't have any medical training, but every sign to me points towards the need to not encourage people congregating in large groups, including classrooms and frat houses and dorms, but instead, doing the social distancing and trusting the medical professionals. And I think it's going to require recently, but to do otherwise really does risk much greater harm.
Dave Norris, our guest, former mayor, Charlottesville, Virginia. All right, positive light at the end of the tunnel. Help us. I'm trying to cling to the silver linings here. I woke up, like you said, and saw the news that I was like, holy shit. My wife is an incredibly family-oriented and motivated and passionate and parent, and she's very nervous, of what's going on, especially as parents. So any positive that we can cling to here that you're kind of hearing, seeing, reading?
Well, I mean, I've heard people describe this virus as essentially akin to a death sentence, and unfortunately for some people it is. But for the vast majority of people who contract the virus I don't want, as Michael Payne said on your show, we don't want people to panic. This is a serious health emergency. It's a serious health situation. We need the resources into testing and a treatment, and obviously eventually a vaccine. People who contract the virus, they're going to be okay. And so I don't want people to think, oh gosh, that's a terminal condition for somebody who gets it. And at the end of the day, we're going to be okay as a community and as a country. We're going to get through this, as Michael said. I hate to keep repeating what Michael said, but as Michael Payne said, we've faced much greater challenges than this as a country. And we've come through okay because we have that grit and we have the ability to come together across party lines, across religious lines, race lines, class lines to defeat an enemy like this. And so we've done it before. We'll do it this time. And I'm looking forward to, hopefully as soon as this summer, having Fridays after 5 back on the mall and open again and seeing people resume their activities of normal daily living. And in the meantime, we've just got to
Dave Norris live here on the I Love CVille show, guys. We are live on the Dominion Custom Homes hotline. Dave, I'm going to throw this question to you from one of our viewers. And guys, post questions and comments for Dave in the comment section of any of the Facebook pages you're watching this show on. This question was just posted for our former mayor. Dave, if you were the mayor, if you were on council, would you be using, and it's from Janice Boyce Trevelyan. Janice Boyce Trevelyan asked Dave, if you were on council and you were the mayor, would you be using your influence for shelter in place in the city of Charlottesville?
I think most people are already doing that. Right now, what I see is people are going out when they need to go to the grocery store, when they need to go to the pharmacy. I don't see people going out to restaurants and bars anymore. Obviously, that's no longer even a possibility. We don't see people gathering in large groups around town anymore. There was an issue there for a while at the corner at UVA where some of the students weren't getting the message, but place. And I think that's sort of I think the governor has set a reasoned tone and in terms of his expectation and our mutual expectation of how people should be behaving right now. I don't want to get to a point where people feel like they have to be prisoners in their homes. I saw somebody the other day say, you can't even, you shouldn't be going out for walks anymore. I think that's probably a little extreme. I mean, I think you can practice social distancing outside. And in fact, getting outside is probably a very good thing. And it's something I've been doing with my son and, going on hikes and just not becoming a prisoner in my home. But for the most part, people aren't doing the kinds of things anymore that are going to, result in a significant escalation of exposure here in our community.
Dave Norris on the hotline here. Questions coming in from Travis Wilburn. And Dave, am I on your end? Here's a question. We're rolling out the new technology now. Am I from your end cutting off what you're saying at all? It's coming in clearly on your end? Okay, good. That's what the viewers are saying too. I just want to make sure. Travis Wilburn as this question. He's a huge Dave Norris fan, is how he started the comment. And he said, what has to be done here from a council and city hall and Charlottesville standpoint for this small business community?
That's a great question. And I do think there's more we can be doing for our small business community here locally. First of all, it's just, that small business owners are aware of the relief and the resources that are available to them. I'd love to see City Hall, for instance, step up and help facilitate access to some of the economic injury loans that are currently becoming available through the small business online workshops and Skype sessions and Zoom sessions for local business owners about how to access those resources, strategies, and advice for navigating those application procedures, which can be a little cumbersome. Unfortunately, the federal government passed a $376 billion new package of small business economic stimulus package. That's a huge amount of money that's now available to small businesses. Again, I'd love to see City Hall step up in terms of helping our local small businesses learn about these resources and access these resources. There's unemployment assistance available and expanded unemployment assistance available. That's something that, between City Hall and our local workforce development network, the Downtown Job Center, other folks can be involved in helping people access those resources. So even though the city itself may not have a whole lot of resources, they can certainly play the role of a facilitator and expediter, hopefully. But even internally, look, I think it was good step they took a few days ago in terms of suspending tax collections for small businesses and the meals tax. I'd love to see any more relief that they might have available in terms of meals tax relief for these restaurants that are currently struggling as much as anybody right now. So economically,
fabulous stuff here, Dave. I'm going to throw a couple more questions to you. We have more comments coming in. A lot of entrepreneurs watching the broadcast. Tourism, Travis says, our second largest economic driver in the community. What happens if we don't, from your standpoint, crystal ball standpoint, if we don't get students on grounds, restaurants open, and tourism popping to this community here? I don't think we've seen anything like that before.
Yeah, well, probably in the immediate aftermath of August 12th, the thing certainly tourism took a hit. But Travis is right. We've got to focus on, as we're looking to rebuild and climb out of this hole. many communities across the country. We've got to look at our assets and our resources and how to leverage those and their tourism dollars here, to have their weddings here, to visit our wineries, to be patronizing our local businesses. Travis, as much as anybody, knows how to make that happen. So I would defer to people like Travis Wilburn when it comes to, smart ways to go about marketing our community to tourists. But there's certainly going to need to be a redoubling of those efforts as we move forward.
Dave Norris, our guest here on the I Love CVille show, live on the Dominion Custom Homes hotline. 2 more questions, and then Daniel Kaufman coming up, owner of Public Fish and Oyster in Midtown Charlottesville. All right, so as we wind down, I'm going to throw the final question and then give you kind of final word to go anywhere you want. This City Council, Albemarle County, and UVA, how do you broker the communication, and how do you optimize, and how do you build efficiency? In this situation that's never happened in the history of these municipalities or the university, how can they work together from your standpoint?
Having that ongoing communication between the decision makers. So I know Mayor Walker speaks on at least with the chair of the Albemarle County Board. And oftentimes it's not even formal communication. Like when I was mayor, I used to have, we tried to get at least a monthly or every other month lunch together with other key officials in the area, just to make sure we're all on the same page about what's happening and how we can work together. So there's informal communication that needs to be happening, or is happening presumably. And this year when they disbanded the regional, it was called the PACC, which was the regional body where they had representatives from the city and the county and the university all meeting regularly to compare notes and do planning. I think they've got some other infrastructure in place now, sort of with lower level staff, at least meeting regularly on some planning things. But, you have this completely dysfunctional, we've talked about this before in your show, we have this very dysfunctional system of government in Virginia, which is unique to Virginia. It's the only state in the country where a city like Charlottesville is completely independent of the county that surrounds it. And so it makes things unwieldy, unnecessarily so. But so it really requires those local government officials to be communicating regularly, meeting regularly, sharing notes, and planning together for the betterment of our whole region. Because as you've said many times, nobody really knows where the boundary of the city ends and the boundary of the county begins, and where, what parts of the university are in the city and what parts of the university. I mean, we're all one community at the end of the day. And when you have a challenge like this, we've got to come together.
Dave Norris crushing it per usual. Last question for him, anywhere he wants to go. Final word. What do you have to say to the community here?
I think just the same way I started, Jerry, is we've got to rally together, support our neighbors who are struggling right now. And so much of the attention is on supporting, the corporate sector and supporting the everyday working man and working woman who I worry about the most. And just yesterday, somebody told me he was laid off from his job. I mean, I'm hearing this every day now. And we've got to do everything we can, stay housed, make sure they're able to feed their kids, make sure they can get through this, so that when the when the economy does bounce back, when our community does bounce back, that they can be reemployed, and they too can, end up, you say the light at the end of the tunnel. They can get through that tunnel.
Thank you, my friend, for coming on the show. The community loves you. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you for being a voice of reason like you always have been. I'm just very grateful for you. Stay safe, and hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Sounds great, Jerry. Thanks for the opportunity. Keep up the great work.
Bye, Dave. Take care.
You
Dave
too.
Norris, guys, he's absolutely fantastic. Daniel Kaufman in T-minus 90 seconds. Daniel Kaufman, the owner of Public Fish and Oyster and co-owner of Pronto on the UVA corner. We're going to chime in with the restaurateurs and get their perspective, or one individual's perspective in the category. Love Dave Norris. I just don't want to rush to judgment here. I'm a small business owner. My family and our team members depend on what happens on the first and second floors of the Macklin building on Market Street. And I want the economy to be strong, and I want restaurants to be hopping, and I want elbow to elbow in the dining room, and I want that energy returning to Maya and Continental Divide and to Zocalo and that buzz on the downtown mall, and not the ghost town I'm seeing. It's a ghost town right now. If you talk about parking, and I joke about parking, and parking's a freaking sensitive topic in Charlottesville, Virginia. But you want to make a joke about parking? There's plenty of effing parking right now in downtown Charlottesville. You can find it, no problem. No problem. I just want the community to return back to normal, but I don't want it to do it at the expense of the future. I don't want to sacrifice the future by rushing to judgment. It's like a football player that goes back to playing football too early after a torn ACL. He's more susceptible to the injury again, repeating itself, or other injuries. We just got to pump the brakes a little bit. Let's get Daniel Kaufman on the line. Judah Wickhauer, our guest. Judah, I'm about to patch Daniel Kaufman in. He is co-owner of Pronto on the UVA corner, and owner of Public Fish and Oyster in Midtown. He's fabulous people. Daniel, can you hear me, Daniel? I'm doing well. Turn that camera around if you could for me. There we go. That's perfect. All right, I'm going to get out of the way. You're in Public right now, one of my favorite restaurants in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. This is the question: coronavirus, Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Daniel Kaufman, State of the Union.
To hit hard, and like you mentioned earlier, the thing that really hit home for me, really became real, was when we found out UVA was closed. So we knew that was going to be trouble, particularly for a restaurant that I just opened on the UVA corner at a time when cash flow is everything. It came through during spring break. We were already feeling what it's like to not have the students around during spring break, and boom, they're not coming back. So that by UVA quite as much as the restaurant that I, on the corner, but feel it across the board regardless. It's almost like coming up with new businesses right now, trying to reconceptualize to something that we're actually can ethically do right now, and that's this takeout scheme. My menu didn't necessarily translate well at Public to a takeout system, but we've really put together that works really well, and the public has been extremely supportive so far, more so than I thought it was. I was saying to Ben and Tristan, my neighbors at Oakhart, at the beginning of this, maybe for a couple days, and it's been a few more than a couple days sustainable. But the point that I have to nail home is you gotta keep supporting. It can't be a novelty right now where we order from, where we order from these sit-down restaurants. We have to sustain this, and we have staff working very, very hard to be able to keep the lights on and some money in their pockets, and maybe some rent paid. So the community of Charlottesville is keep supporting this. It's working. I didn't think it would be working, but we need to keep doing it. And there's a lot of people who are relying on you right now. Awesome food in front of you. If you do so, this helps immensely. Play right now, selling gift cards. Gift cards are great right now. If you can buy a gift card, start stocking up for Christmas right now.
Daniel Kaufman, I like.
Buy a gift card right now. I'm shopping earlier and earlier every year. We're starting in March. Some staff.
Daniel Kaufman, I appreciate the chutzpah. I love your commitment and your innovative tendencies at Public. Let me throw this to you here. And Daniel Kaufman, co-owner of Pronto, owner of Public, a restaurant in Midtown, one on the UVA corner. Talk about the innovation you're seeing out there. Wilson Ritchie has his back of the house dishwashing pit doing car washing right now on Market Street.
Yeah, and it's working too, apparently. Yeah, Will was speaking highly of that. It might even be, I think he meant, work in the dish pits. So, great. Anything that's working, get behind it. First of all, thank you for everything you're doing. I know you don't have a well, maybe I don't know, maybe you do have some sort of financial interest in all this working, but that's not the point. The point is that care, and we really appreciate.
Thank you.
That means a lot. People like you, people like Simon Davidson, who is watching right now as well. Simon, thank you for everything you're doing. From me and from my peers, and it's sure that are going to make these restaurants survive, so we don't have a barren landscape of empty storefronts, or at least Chipotle's moving in these spots, which, not taking anything away from there, they pay people, they get them good benefits, but I think for Charlottesville to be special, we need these independent restaurants. And that's a great part of this.
Let's throw this question to you. Daniel Kaufman, our guest, guys, owner Public in Midtown, one of my favorite restaurants in Charlottesville, by far one of the best happy hours in town, by far. I love Public. Daniel, this is what I'm going to throw to you here. City Council, City Hall, what you want to see from the people that run the city and helping Charlottesville's restaurant community.
Well, I think so far they've made a okay for right now. That keeps a little money in the till, be without penalty. I'd love to see those waived right now, but the legalese involved, that's not possible. I don't petition. I'm not that tied into how things work down at City. I sell oysters for a living. I sell pasta for a living. This is not my area of expertise. However, things that I have been seeing, a parking spot out front dedicated to curbside takeout, long way. Things like that say, hey, there is takeout food available here. I got a place for you to park your car. I like to see actions like that. So far the city, I think, is recognizing the problem. I don't think they know the answers to this, as none of us do. But we're seeing some effort, and let's keep going. Let's keep trying and seeing what else we can do to get through this as
Daniel Kaufman, our guest, guys. Daniel Kaufman owns 2 restaurants in Charlottesville. Throw this question to you. As far as the economic impact, not just the staff that works at restaurants, dude, but like the economic impact of the supply chain in the community. So we've been, if we can put it in perspective, I think that can drive change and action. Just describe the supply chain.
So I'm still placing small orders. With my produce reps, my seafood companies. I had a delivery come from ProFish, one of the biggest fish distributors around. Before I got on your show today, they come out of DC. I said, "How's business?" The driver, who's a full truck every single day, came from DC, had 4 deliveries all day. He went to Manassas in Charlottesville. I mean, no one, everyone is feeling this. We're spreading the misery, and misery loves company. I will say, some comfort I've taken in this is the fact that we're all suffering through this. We're all looking. That's a little bit of comfort I think we can take from this. But talking to my produce guys, their trucks are empty completely. 2 weeks ago, I'm calling my peer saying, "Hey, you got a dishwasher?" It's Friday night. My dishwasher is making that call again. That's the problem I want to have again. I want a dishwasher on a Friday night, and that's my biggest problem in the world right now. And I'm sure all my.
Oh man, I feel, dude. I feel your pain here. All right, throw 2 more questions to you, and we'll let you go. What needs to happen? Where do we? We want the students back. Obviously, Lloyd Snook came on the program, city councilor. Lloyd Snook said the ideal scenario is students back on grounds at the end of August, and then potentially the economy returning to form in Charlottesville. What are you seeing and hearing?
We've lost graduation. That $1 in sales I would have done over days. And things like that pay for January and February, where it's quiet, no one's coming in. They're the reason we February, and that's going to hurt as well. So this thing's just going to trickle down. I think in the short term, I think we're doing the right things for the most part. I don't see the economy being open by Easter, potentially exacerbating this problem. We'll ride this out as long as we can, doing what we're doing right now. But I can't run up with people who could be sick and could be spreading this. I think that's insane. For the time, and I'm speaking for myself on this one, and I think maybe that's a little unfair because I know some restaurants have opened again, and I feel for them so bad. I hate that. The thought of losing my restaurant rips me apart. This is everything I've worked for my whole life. I want to live too, and I want, I don't have parents alive anymore, but if they were alive, continue being alive. And the fact that they're older and they'd be vulnerable right now, and I don't think that's an expense to take just to get the doors open again.
Dude, I love that about you, man.
Now, in the interim, Charlottesville can keep getting behind this takeout scheme.
It's not a scheme; it's a strategy
for the restaurants.
A marketing or advertising campaign.
But gift cards, tipping on these takeout orders, because these staff are working these. They're not serving people at the table. People have been amazingly generous. Tips 40, 50, 60, 100% tipping on. And you're recognizing that service there. They're taking care of these people, and I really, I think to a certain extent, less than a lot of people. I was talking to a girl last night at Pronto. I worked at Pronto, and she worked in the lab at UVA, the lab that apparently does the testing for this, and she's involved in a program right now where she's getting in touch with local businesses who aren't using their brand, donating it to staff at UVA so they don't have to park over at JPJ, hop on a bus full of sick, and get to work. So, I mean, just the kind of things that are really amazing right now. For answers, with this, how much income can we bring in during this? How much are you going to pay us? I don't know the answers to this, and it's going to how marketing strategy can be able to make most of them whole, but I don't know how much longer. So we need people. We need landlords to really consider taking. My landlords at both restaurants have been cool about April rent. The answer is, but I know I don't have to pay it April 1st. And that helps, and that allows me to pay some other people. I'm sure that bill's going to come due eventually, but I've spoken to people whose landlords have not deferred their April rent, which, but we all need to feel this a little bit. We all need to hurt a little bit right now. It can't be business as usual.
Kaufman, your honesty is appreciated here. Let me throw a few more questions to you. Bashir is watching. He's a colleague in the restaurant business with you. He says, Daniel, he appreciates you. He says he's lost many events, plus the festival of the book is really hurting his business. One of his go-to clients has called to postpone a wedding reception, and he said he's really hurting. And he's seeing this all the way going into September. And he's watching the program now. You have 16 restaurant owners watching you on the program as we speak, at least from what I'm counting. It could be more. I'll throw this topic to you. As far as the future of the category, there's the two most competitive business categories in Charlottesville are realtors and restaurants. When we get on the other side of this, what does the Charlottesville restaurant category look like?
Tom Colicchio said, the entire restaurant category.
Jesus.
Losing 75% of our restaurants. I mean, that's insane. The restaurant scene in Charlottesville, I think, is one of the things that makes this town so special.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I love about it. I love eating out in Charlottesville, and I love running into my friends when I eat out in Charlottesville. Um, we're good to each other here. I mean, we have a text thread. I think 30 restaurant owners right now. We're all keeping in touch. We're all talking about what we're doing, filling each other in, spreading ideas. But until we know, we're all shooting. Actually, these are Peter's words right here. But we're all shooting from the hip here. We're kind of answers. Apparently, there's some sort of through the pipes soon. From what we're seeing early, it looks like there could be some very good things in that, but we need to know for sure and quickly. We need this to happen very quickly. We got people who need to pay rent. We got people who need to feed their kids. And we need people to stop worrying. I've never been more tense in my life, and I'm tired of it. We need some relief, and we're doing our best.
All right, I'll throw this to you here, and this is important, and then I want to give you the entire show about public. What do you have on the line here? There's a misconception out there about small business owners and restaurant owners and people that are entrepreneurs about having the world by the cojones, and it's just like it's the complete opposite. It's like we have so much on the line here. What do we have on the line?
I've been lucky. I've been able the last few years where I am probably not as concerned about maybe Pronto might be looking a little differently because the funds are getting low in that one. I mean, I've been working. I'm going to be 41 next week, and I've been working most of my life in restaurants with the goal today. My life's work. This is my peers' life's work in here. If we lose our restaurant, I mean, this is going to keep people up, and this is going to cause a lot of but the financial, I think almost the emotional impact's going to be worse. These are our restaurants. These are our families. These are the and I do to my family, and I love having. I've got a great supportive staff right now, and they're my number one concern right now. And to lose the business would mean them to lose their livelihood. Amazon restaurants.
All right, show's yours. Public. Give us some insight. We want to eat at Public. We want to support the restaurant. We want to go to Pronto ASAP.
Takeout and a limited delivery. I'm literally delivering these things myself when I'm here. I like getting my car and driving around town and doing it. It feels good, But Public is doing pickup and limited delivery from 4 to 8, Tuesday through Friday. We're going to be closed on Mondays. That's going to be the decompressed day. We'll pick it up again from 12 to 8 on Saturdays and Sundays. 4 to 8. Somebody will be here to take orders early, but we will have pickup available 4 to 8, Tuesday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. Pronto is open every day but Sunday. Every day but Sunday from to 7:30 for takeout, cash delivery. We have signed up for DoorDash over there, which I might add. These says if you can work outside of them, please do so because they take a huge chunk. We'll take anything we can get.
I appreciate you. I wish you the best. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you.
The public menu is online at prontouva.com.
Wish you the best, dude.
Thanks, buddy. Keep supporting your local restaurants, guys.
Hit you up and get you back on the show
more than ever.
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel Kaufman, guys, he's the owner of
I look forward
Public
to it.
in Midtown.
Thanks, buddy.
We'll get to some comments, guys. And if you'd like to hop in the program, we're Skyping now. If you'd like to hop in the program and offer your perspective, put your Skype handle in the comment section of any of the 12 Facebook pages, and I'll Skype you on air. and obviously be neighborly and live the golden rule when you come on our show. But if you want to offer perspective or share some advice or anything like that, just put your Skype handle in the comment section, and I'll get you on there. Dude, how honest was Daniel Kaufman there? How genuine and how real and how vulnerable. Charlottesville, look, I talk about this with my friends a lot of times, and other couples, my wife, co-workers, people at the water cooler, whatever, the hallway, whatever it may be. Charlottesville has been really fortunate in that the economy has been very, very strong. There's no question Charlottesville has its problems, and its problems we know. Affordable housing. Its problems we know. Workforce, jobs for the workforce. Jobs that are not just for, the tech or university graduates, but jobs across the spectrum. We know this. But one thing that Charlottesville's had going is a really strong economy. And we're blessed because of the University, of State Farm, of Martha Jeff, of CFA. We're blessed to have them in the community because that keeps the economy going strong. And I'm not a Debbie Downer, and I'm a positive guy, and I'm going to keep using this network to be positive. But if you want to see things get tough out there, watch the economy suffer and unemployment skyrocket in our community. That'll add another layer to the onion. So consider that. Don't dwell on it. Keep it in your head. Realize the importance of a strong local economy in the community, because if you want to add another layer of complication into the ecosystem here in CVille, throw in a tough economy, and that's really going to circle the pot. Okay? So I'm gonna close with this. Support the local business community now more than ever. We're going to go out to dinner, and still 40%, it's a national trend, 40% of people eat out or rely on food from restaurants or take out to go dine in to get by on their week. 40%. You're still going to eat out. Might as well do it in a way that is supporting the community more than ever. I'm watching Wilson Ritchie. It's either Wilson Ritchie, Andy McClure. Either one of those two are the two most prolific restaurant owners in Charlottesville. And by prolific, I mean they have ownership stake in brands or restaurants in the community. Andy McClure of Citizen Burger Bar and the Virginian and the Biltmore, et cetera, and Bell. And Wilson Ritchie of the Bebedero, of the Whiskey Jar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wilson Ritchie has a car wash going on at the Whiskey Jar right now with his dish pit to help them keep money in their pocket. I'm going to say that again. A dish pit. The team that manages the dish pit at the Whiskey Jar is doing car washes behind the Whiskey Jar with entry point on Market Street by Common House and Fellini's. You go in there, you pay cash, and you get your car washed. That's innovation. And through great hardship comes awesome innovation. A good example is what the hell is happening with this program here. We are Skyping in guests because we are concerned about our son. I'm concerned about my son. I'm concerned about my wife. I'm concerned about my friends. We were also catching a little bit of flack from the community about having in-person interviews. So we've taken it a step further, and any in-person interviews that are happening on the opposite sides of the studio table, studio camera that, Judah, so they see it. But we're Skyping. We're working Skype into the mix. And great hardship comes great innovation. Look at how the show's improving by working Skype into the mix. And it's going to continue to improve. Goodness gracious, it has a way to go. But you see that it's improving. I think what I would like to see, and I'm going to throw this out there, I would love to see the restaurant community, and there's restaurant owners watching right now. I would love to see the Restaurant, Tourism, and Lodging Association in Charlottesville innovate their association. And I would like to see better communication methods using Zoom or Skype meetings from them. And I would also like to see Virginia Tourism and Lodging Association maybe consider the creation of a delivery arm, vertically integrate their model where instead of relying on Postmates and Grubhub and these third-party delivery systems, and these third-party delivery systems don't give a rat's ass about business. All they care about is the transaction and happening on their website and not going through the restaurant's phone or the restaurant's website, but through the third-party delivery portal, okay? That's why the food oftentimes through third-party delivery comes cold, et cetera, et cetera. I would love to see the Tourism and Lodging Association build a delivery party that the entire association can leverage. That's improving the model. That is vertically integrating the model. You keep whatever margin, is it 30% restaurant owners? Whatever margin you're keeping to Grubhub, or you're kicking to Grubhub, Postmates, DoorDash, whatever, you keep within the association, and then that association can use it for marketing initiatives and to improve the association and get it better. I would love to see that innovation happen. I'm going to try to continue to use this platform to find positive aspects or positive silver linings or things that we can cling to or get some realistic hope from with this network. For the last week, I've been talking to Lloyd Snooks and the Michael Paynes and the Dave Norrises and the Daniel Kaufmans, and we've done a hell of a job covering what's going on in Charlottesville. Now, we're going to take it to a different level, and we're going to take this from a perspective of here's where Charlottesville needs to go. And we're going to welcome people in the community that I think are embodying that mindset. Here's where Charlottesville needs to go, and we're going to put them on here. And we're going to share it with you. That's what we're going to do. What do you think about that, Judah? Judah Wickhauer is our director. What do you think about that idea? I'm putting him on the spot. He hates to be put on the spot. He's going to be put on the spot a lot more on the I Love CVille show. What do you think about that, Judah?
Sounds good, Jerry.
Oh, that was a very dynamic perspective you offer there. Sounds good, Jerry. All right, that's the show. Thank you guys kindly for watching. Tell your friends and family about the I Love CVille show. We're grateful for your watching, sharing, liking. We can start Skyping people onto the show, so keep that in mind. All you're going to need is a Skype handle, and we can put you on air, and we can relay your perspective to our guests on the show as we Skype them as well. You're going to get a couch tour. A tour from your couch, or a tour from your office desk, or a tour from wherever you're watching this show on. You're going to get a tour of a hell of a lot of home offices, or living rooms, or the inside of homes of a lot of people in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the I Love CVille show. As we Skype them and go straight to them in quarantine or their social distancing methods, we're going to be doing that from their home most likely. You're going to get to see a lot of homes, guys. I'm Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille show. Enjoy your afternoon. What's Barking Local with Patty Bowden, 3 o'clock on the I Love CVille network. At 3 o'clock today, Patty Bowden, the owner of the McIntyre Plaza's Animal Connection, is going to be in that chair, and we're going to be 6 feet apart, and we'll Skype some people in, and we're going to talk literally how the animal community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia is impacted by the coronavirus. So be here at 3 o'clock. I Love CVille's Facebook page or mine, or 10 other ones, and watch us do our thing. Take care.